I love what Peter said about the struggle and the suffering, because that really, in so many ways, defines the me. The idea that we have to crawl on our hands and knees, or that we have to earn it or deserve it, or some nonsense. Yep,
Right.
that was awesome.
Can I say amen? Really, the me, that's a beautiful summation, because the me feels like it has to earn something.
Mhm.
Yeah, without the sense of me, the sense of struggle, the sense of needing to do something, there's just the peace that's already here. It's very natural. It's not manufactured.
That's a very powerful statement, Michael.
So I was saying to Alice a couple days ago in a phone call that we had, how the limited, anything you can imagine, anything you can say, anything. The limited, the manufactured, the imagined pretends as if it is the infinite. It doesn't come off as just what it is. It comes off as something much, it's my life. It matters. It has a weight to it. So that's the imagination, why it feels so strong, because it's not seen as an imagination. It's felt as real, as what I'm imagining is the infinite. You know, it's real. I really feel it's that way. Now, contrast that from the view from the infinite. Starting just from the infinite. And so there's just no one looking out these bodies. There's no one over there, and there's no one over here. Like, think how many I was thinking this today. Think how many autopsies have been done on human corpses, right? Like billions and billions and billions, right? They've never found somebody. They've never cut someone open and discovered, oh, there's Mr. Jones. He was actually here inside the body. No, right? What does Nkosi say? Blood, guts, brain, heart, kidneys, but no Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is a story. And I don't want to downplay it, because it can be terrifying to the me when it finally, this is what Tim Kliss talks about a lot, is it just wipes out everything. I would even go so far as to say that it's the mother of all assumptions, the mother of all assumptions, that there's someone here. It's just assumed. There's someone there and there's someone here. This is such a powerful assumption. But when looked for, it's never found. So you have to look for yourself, and you'll see that there's just nothing here. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, there's nothing here from this point of view, the me, who I think I am, but there may be something here from the point of view of everything. So maybe Mr. Jones is in that body, cannot be seen by another so-called me, but can be seen clearly, wholly, lovingly from the point of view of everything. So this could be all, that there are me's here in the imagination of the all. Which would make everything okay. And it would validate the material world, totally validate it from the point of view of everything. With, yeah, not the other point of view.
I don't understand what you mean by everything, Don. I don't know, maybe it's just not falling in.
That the oneness, the all that is, everything that is, the oneness, the silence,
Okay.
the silence, the deep silence, the one sounds imagines you, I'll use you or me, imagines you as Alice, as Dawn.
The silence
that,
imagines me as Alice.
say it again, I'm sorry.
You said the silence imagines me as Alice.
Yeah.
It doesn't fall in, I guess.
Yeah, and so you are the imagined of from the source, from the all. And in that way, you're enveloped by the all and loved by the all. And everything then becomes very valid down here, or very beautiful, as Nkosi would say, or the way I would look at it. Everything is really beautiful, not just because it is what it is, but because it has been, it is a creation of the imagination of the all that is. So I'm trying to validate the me without it being, but not separate from the all. Not that I'm separate me. I'm not separate me. That's suffering. But me as the imagination of the one that creates, or the creation, then I'm, oh man, very powerful, uplifted. We are loved. The me, the me that you think you are is loved. As you're thinking, the me that you are and suffering and whatever is being loved, because all that has been created from the love. So it's being loved.
You know what? I have to say, Don, when there's a me here that needed love, oh my God, forget about it. It never got enough. It never got enough love. When it was endless. It was torture. Yeah, the love, it's actually the me's apparent. When it's not there, needing anything.
Right. It doesn't need anything. But even if it needs, if it thinks it needs something, even if it thinks it needs the love, that's the all.
Yeah.
Playing this game or whatever it's doing, saying that Don thinks he needs to be loved.
Yeah.
That's still got to be total love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, or as Nkosi would say, that's this too.
Right. Yeah.
I relate to that a lot too, Don, in that for me, when I really am in silence, there's sort of that universal sense. It's very intuitive. It's not in the mind, so to speak. It's just a feeling. And so for me, I'm based on the things you're saying, I just relate to that as silence. And as a plug for Michael is, if you haven't heard 2 weeks ago, if you weren't here for it, and even if you were, I would highly recommend listening to the first few minutes, because we came out of silence, and then Michael talked a lot about silence. And I thought it was one of the more powerful few minutes, the best of Michael. But anyway, I just wanted to share that, yeah, again, it's so hard to use words, but when there is silence, and I know we can say, is it the me in silence? We can go down that road, but whatever it is, when there's just a sense of true silence, not an efforting of the silence, that union, that connection, that whatever it is, love, very, very powerful. So thank you for sharing, Don.
This week I've been moved by my granddaughter has a dog which has had puppies, and she's been showing me on FaceTime what the mother dog's been up to, and how the babies sort of have come. She's given me a bit of a blow-by-blow description, and I'm touched and moved by the effortlessness of a first-time mother dog who seems to know what to do without any instruction. Oh, now we've got the mower man. Yeah, it's just sort of a lesson in, it's a lesson to me in I don't know what, things unfolding naturally without, I don't know, I don't really know. Can somebody help me with?
That was beautiful.
Yeah, it's really touched me how effortless the whole thing has been. The mother dog popping these puppies out and licking them clean and eating the sack that they came in, and yeah, and licking them and just staying with them. She didn't sort of wonder. She wasn't wondering, oh my God, what have I done? It was like she knew. And somehow it touched me, and it fits in. I just wanted to share about that. It somehow fits in with what we talk about. Yeah, with just life unfolding, maybe. Or without the knowledge bit, without the head getting in the way. It's sort of just like, it's happening. It's just what's happening.
Exactly.
And it's all happening just fine.
I mean, thank you, Faith. There is just what's happening.
Yeah. The babies seem to know to stay there and be with each other and hook up to the mother's teats and get some sustenance. Nobody taught the babies to do that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes as quite a shock when the quote, me realizes that life doesn't need it. You might start laughing. I have to warn you, right? That life needs me. So you can apply, Faith, what you said to the mother feeding its babies, to lightning and wind and rain and the sun and just getting up out of your chair.
Maybe life does need you. Maybe.
See, the life is the unity, but if it's me in life, but
you can't make that separation. There's only unity, so you can't start with the me in life.
yeah, so the freedom in that there's just what's happening is there's just what's happening. So if annoyance arises, suddenly that's just what's happening. If joy is arising, that's just what's happening. If anger, how dare they? If that's arising, then that's just what's happening. You know, the me, you could say, is this energy of specialness, energy of specialness. It somehow feels more special than all the other. But if it's just one energy, you know, undivided.
Is it sort of like that the me gets in the way of life?
Well, that's so funny because it's like yes and no, right? Yes and no. How can something that doesn't exist get in the way? And yet we all know that feeling, that experience of a me throwing, you know, a hissy fit. And you could say, yeah, it's always got an opinion, and it's sort of, it's like a middleman. It's like nothing's clean because it's always got to be processed through the me's knowledge base. You know, where do I put it? What does this mean? It's constantly, you can't really relax.
Yeah, I often feel that this me, it needs to comment on everything. Like, you know, something happens and I need to like document it or explain it or just let it be. isn't, that doesn't come very easy to the me.
No, it can't, because it's, you know, it's scared for its life.
Of course, there's, you know, there's no good or bad or cause and effect or any of that stuff. And um, uh, like related to the previous conversation, the illusion of me is real. And from that angle, the me is real and not real in terms of the appearance. It's funny. And yeah, because the illusion of me is real. Which is so funny because it's really not real. I mean, when it drops, when it dissolves, and I'm making no claims of that, there is nothing there anymore that's tracking anything. There is nothing that's identifying some specific individual thing or energy or anything like that. It's inconceivable to the me, really. It's unsayable. But I mean, and it doesn't do very well with real and unreal. That sort of sizzles its circuits, you know.
When you said cause and effect, Maureen, that's one of the passions of the me, is to come up with, because of this, that happens. It creates an abundance of opportunity for stories, endless stories.
Yeah.
So that can be felt. Like, I would say here that stories became exhausting. Like, it took effort to hold on to a persona.
Yeah, the for no reason. For no reason.
Yeah.
For no one, for no reason. I think sometimes the heaviness, like there's a heaviness that comes and goes, or denseness, and it's so fascinating. Like the me's relationship to this, whatever it is. I mean, because really its orientation often is to either think, well, I'm just a dumb piece of shit and I'm never going to get this, or the orientation is I'm special, and even though they say there's no doer, there's no getting it, I'm going to get it and I'm going to be special. Like, I mean, it's really very funny, you know, like, I mean, yeah, it's really very funny, but yeah.
Yeah, that is perfect and beautiful and fits. Like I was saying, the dream, feels real. It's got a quality to it because there's only the infinite.
humorous and the lightness aspect, and it came up when you were laughing, Maureen, reminded me of the old days when a group of people would get stoned and somebody would say something totally silly and everybody would start laughing about it, even though it was totally nonsensical, but it was so funny.
I mean, it occurs here that like when there's a seriousness or heaviness, as far as I can tell, it's just the seeker energy. It's just the seeker, spiritual, religious energy. It's so familiar. It's like, yes, I have to really work for this and figure it out and gotta be me. It's, yeah, it just seems really funny to me right now for some reason. Yeah, phew.
Peter, I'm glad you brought up laughter when you mentioned the thing about, how people would be sitting around and someone busts out laughing. Laughter is totally involuntary. We have no control over laughter, just like we have no control over anything else.
Yeah, Maureen, did you see the Kenneth Madden quote I posted of Kenneth's where he said that a thought is not yours, it's not personal, it's just another arising?
No, but it's lovely. Yes, yes.
We can go back to the dog and her little babies. And the mother is not anxious about what to do or isn't thinking about what to do. There's just life going on. Life as a mother, life as puppies, life as life. Because there's no sense in the mother that she has control over what happens to the babies or how the babies should be or what to do in the next moment. There's nobody there. Well, the one who would be there is just a sense of control. And Michael started out mentioning about this moment is not manufactured. It's not produced. It's just what it is. If it was manufactured, like the mother isn't the manufacturer of the babies. If the mother was if there was some manufacturing going on, then the mother would maybe feel a sense of control. And I've done this thing, and now I need to know how to do, how to make it be right. That's the me. The me is in that position always in regard to life, about everything, because it's the sense of I'm involved in the manufacture of this moment, of this life, of whatever it is, my life. That's what my means. And I'm somehow in control. And then that's the burden, because now I need to make it work. That is the whole position of the me. And as we're pointing out and just noticing, there isn't anything like that. Life isn't that. And the babies and the mother and the puppies, the dog is a perfect demonstration of that. It's just life going on. And sure, of course, it's going on and it's able to do what it needs to do. The mother's a perfect mother. The puppies are perfect puppies. And that is what is here, because there isn't anybody outside of it that needs to control it and needs to be anxious and needs to know what to do. But that is all the idea of me. And that's what it doesn't exist.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. And then I bring in the point that yesterday it was very hot where the babies and the mother dog and the babies live. It was a very hot day. And when my granddaughter came home to check on them, the babies were all had their mouths wide open and were crying. And she understood that they were stressed, and she had to hurry up and get a fan and blow the cool air on them. And she said after about 20 minutes they recovered. However, if she hadn't come home, though, a number of those babies, or maybe all of them, may have died. Because mother dog doesn't have the knowledge wherewithal, whatever, to go get a fan and cool them off. So we have to stand back, and us me's have to stand back and allow even the unhappy things to unfold along with the so-called happy things.
Yeah, that's why we say all is this.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what arises, good, bad, painful.
But we don't just stand back and let unhappy things happen. I mean, we also act to make things better. I mean, that happens, right? So that's part of the whole appearance.
That's this too. So if action happens, that's this acting. If action doesn't happen, that's this not acting.
Mm.
But there's nothing that needs to happen. That's the mistake of the me, because there's what needs to happen is what is happening. It's already happening.
That's great.
Before we get too far away from Faith's wonderful recitation of these events, you know, the thing, so the puppies were in distress, and I was just curious, where does it come from to assume that they could not endure the temperature and they would die? That's like a worst case scenario, which also the me is very like good at, you know, like if I don't interfere and control the situation, it could be fatal. And so, you know, chances are they would have, like, I know dogs, they have, they're actually quite adaptable to temperature, and they start, you know, panting, or they have mechanisms to get off heat. And so anyhow, that's just my 2 cents. Of course, it's all just this, but it's just interesting how quickly we we come up with a story that something got to be done here, you know.
Yeah, but it's all this, right, Faith? So if it was your granddaughter who came home and found them, so that's life. That's life coming in through the door and rescuing the babies. And that also could have been, she got a phone call to go see a friend and she didn't go and the babies died.
Yeah.
That would be life too.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Peter. That there wasn't a little assumption that they sneak in those assumptions. You know, I've got to do something. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either, but yeah, did it have to happen that way? No, yeah. Anyway, thank you.
And Faith, I would say it wasn't a coincidence that she came home when she did.
Yeah.
to turn on the fans.
Well, that's possible too, yeah. Yeah, so it's sort of like it just all unfold. I used to have a saying, what was it? That life is unfolding as it should. And I still get a bit of comfort from that. Mm.
So here's another angle. You ready?
Sorry, go on. Yes.
So if the dogs were in nature, right, and not in a home that we can call manufactured, there may not have ever have needed to be any human intervention, because they would have been, the mother would have been giving birth, let's say, out in nature somewhere, and instinctively she would have known where to be, whether it's in the the shade or whatever. And but I also just want to say that, as Michael said, you may have made a reasonable assumption, or any human being, that the animals were in distress. And so I know what Peter was saying too, that we can jump to conclusions, but I think it's also reasonable to say that, if, as Dan said, if you feel a need to move, that's that human interaction. So anyway, I just find the whole thing interesting, that there's distress, and my gut tells me there's distress because the animals weren't in nature to begin with. And they were in more of an artificial, I hate to use the word artificial, but a manufactured setting, where all of a sudden they were vulnerable now to the heat.
And we're telling a little story right now about the puppies and the mother dog and the heat and what happened. And it's a story. We can't really say what that is. I mean, we'd have to have Don's point of view from everything to see, to make, there's no story from the point of view of everything, right? There's just everything. There's just life, and puppies and mother dogs and people helping them or not helping, it's all part of the same this, if I can use a scientific term. And I think it's useful to notice that, in this idea of, yes, well, the human was there to actually help the situation, it seems, in the just the ordinary way, maybe, and we're doing this all the time. That is kind of the me's role, is helping things, right? Helping. I mean, of course, obviously, what would be the point of doing all of my me things if I wasn't helping the situation? That's what the intention is to help me do what I need to do and help the world, help others, help everything. And there is help that we can tell a story of how things are helped, right? In all sorts of ways. But that's not actually the essence of what is really happening, because to notice that the me is always trying to help. It's always, the energy of me is, no matter what's going on, it doesn't matter what's going on, there's always this movement to fix this, to fix what's going on, make it better, make it what it needs to be. It's the feeling that, oh, no, things are not just quite right, and I need to do something to make it right. That is the me. And yes, there's so the stories of things going on and people doing things, yeah, okay, that's good. I mean, that's fine. It just is what it is. But this feeling of needing to fix is what we're pointing to. And to notice that thing that's trying to be fixed never does get fixed. No matter what all this the me and all of its activity and all of its best intentions never gets that done. There's always more to fix. There's always something wrong. And of course, there's a lot of trouble that comes from these, trying to fix. It all causes as much trouble as it fixes, but that's the whole, But the point is, the me is already has a sense that, no, there's something that is needed to be done here to make this okay. but there only is okay already. What is already only what it is. It's not, the me perceives it as something that needs to be moved to a better spot, a better position, a better state. And I need to do something to get that, to bring that about. But there,
I'm wondering,
yeah,
sorry,
go ahead,
I'm
Vanessa.
just wondering, would, because I've never done therapy, but it's something that I've recently started to think about. Would therapy be helpful, or do you think it would be better to not? I guess there's different perspectives you could take on it. But what is your take on that? Like, would it be something to, well, it is something to do, but
Are you asking me, Vanessa? Or who are you
yeah,
asking?
yeah,
Maybe
or
asking everyone?
anyone,
Asking
yeah, I'm
everyone.
just curious.
I don't know. Does anyone have any? I could talk about that, but does anyone have anything to say about therapy?
I've heard Paul Hederman. I love what he says about if you feel like that's what you need to do, then do it. If there's a sense of someone there that really needs to go to therapy, then do it.
Yeah, and in a way, it's sort of like anything else. I mean, if you have something wrong with your my body, then I might go to a doctor, and that's therapy, right? It's physical therapy, and just like my psychology, my emotional story, I can. So those are things that we do that we naturally, as a human, we do things. That's the fixing part. If I have a broken leg, I'm going to go to a doctor and fix it. Or so if I have some psychological tensions, energies that are influencing how I am, yeah, well, therapy is something that can be done to make that better. But I think what we're talking about here is pointing to something more fundamental. It's pointing to what's always true, no matter what the story is, no matter what's going on. I wonder how my story is. That there's the sense of me is always looking for something, but what the me is looking for is only already here. So I'm already starting with the false idea that there's something missing and I need to get it. But there isn't anything missing. There's only what's here. So what I'm looking for as me, this energy of me, is only looking for what's already always here. So, and therapy doesn't really touch that. Is kind of what I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah, therapy is a good thing, and just like anything else, anything that we can do that's creative and that's to make things better in the story. That's what we do. Make our relationships better, make our our house better, everything, our meals better, whatever. That's just a natural part of what goes on. But that doesn't really touch this other thing, which is this assumption that's behind this, just the very sense of me, as Michael was saying before, the sense that I'm real and the sense that this world is real. And that's already the sense that it's not okay and I need to do something. Something needs to happen to make it okay, to become, make it become okay. And that's missing the fact that there only is, that okay is only already what is. And there isn't any okay besides what is. There isn't anything else. That's what not to means. Anyway, and that's what Nkosi is saying every week. I guess, anyway, we're missing Nkosi today.
I appreciate what you said, Dan. And I speaking as an enthusiast of therapy, for me, that was like the path to liberation for like the most part of my life. Now it's, and you already said it, now it strikes me as giving validity to something that isn't real to begin with. It's like, it feels like moving furniture around, you know, it's, and yes, I get the point also from what you said. That's this too, and making things better is great too, and can be useful. There is the pitfall to take it for real, you know, to think that there really is a me that needs to be fixed, and it can be fixed, and so on and so forth. And you said that well.
Good. Thanks.
The other aspect of that in relationship to the me, which ultimately is that the source of fixing is an illusion that doesn't exist. The me doesn't exist, but also a big component of the fixing cycle is doership, imagining that we cause these situations. Like causing and fixing seems really inextricably connected. And also the causing generates a fair amount of guilt and shame, which sort of gets us into that cycle of doership, of control, of all those kinds of things. So, but the real deal is that the thing that comes from doesn't exist. I mean, there's no reason to chase after that kind of stuff when, I mean, there's no reason to, as Vanessa said, yeah, there's no control over any of this, but yeah.
Yes.
Well, what can be here that doesn't exist? What can be here? Here, this is it, right? Just this. What here, this could not be real. What are we talking? I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, like an
Gotta be
example,
real.
Dawn, an example might just be dreaming at night. Like when we dream at night, it feels as real as it could possibly be. And yet you wake up the next morning and it's gone.
Well, it's gone the next morning, but maybe it was real when it was occurring. We may have just shifted our focus. I think we're trying to get all this stuff in here that's not real. It's not real. How can anything be not real? If it's not real, it wouldn't be there. Nothing could be not real.
I think Maureen said it earlier. I mean, well, it's real and unreal. It's both real and unreal.
Well,
It's-
how can anything be unreal if all there is everything?
One definition of the real is what doesn't change. And I know that's a subjective definition probably, but it sort of makes sense somehow.
Right, and we can say that there's nothing, well, there's nothing that changes. We could say that. There's just this, there's no change. There's only appearances, but nothing actually changing. Or we could also say there's nothing that doesn't change, you know, that there's just change. Just those two things go together, but can you explain it? I think Maureen also has said something, unsayability. It's unsayable. So we can't really say. Don is always going to be here trying to, which is great because he really keeps us straight.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's no reason for anything.
I know I'm talking a lot, but that there's no reason for anything. That's, I mean, where does that come from? I mean, I hear it, but it's like there's no reason for anything. Maybe there is a reason for everything. We don't know it. and maybe the mind can't know it, but there may be a reason for everything. Every single thing is exactly where it's supposed to be and exactly how it's supposed to change in the relative world and exactly whatever, with a deep purpose that we don't know. A deep purpose that we have no idea of. But that includes us.
Any last comments or questions before we close out from this wild and woolly meeting?
Just as always, I feel grateful for everyone and thank you for coming and being here. And thank you, Michael.
Very grateful. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
We love and
Thank you.
appreciate all of you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye now.
Have a great
right.
week.
Yes.